Good morning. This is Send 7, World News in 7 minutes. I'm Juliet Martin, and today is Thursday, the 23rd of May, 2024. Starting in Europe. Yesterday, Spain, Ireland, and Norway decided to recognise a Palestinian state. An Israeli government spokesperson described the decision as obscene and said it represented a reward for terrorism. Israel has recalled its ambassadors from the embassies in the capitals Madrid, Dublin, and Oslo. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said to Parliament, "We hope that our recognition and our reasons contribute to other Western countries following this path, because the more we are, the more strength we will have to impose a ceasefire, to achieve the release of the hostages held by Hamas, to relaunch the political process that can lead to a peace agreement." British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has called a national election for the 4th of July. His Conservative Party is currently behind in the polls compared to the opposition Labour Party.
In the last 5 years, our country has fought through the most challenging times since the Second World War. As I stand here as your Prime Minister, I can't help but reflect that my first proper introduction to you was just over 4 years ago. I stood behind one of the podiums, upstairs in the building behind me. I told you that we faced a generation-defining moment and that we as a society would not be judged by some government action, but by the small acts of kindness that we showed one another. You met that challenge, and then some, and I have never been prouder to be British. Now is the moment for Britain to choose its future, to decide whether we want to build on the progress we have made or risk going back to square one with no plan and no certainty. Earlier today, I spoke with His Majesty the King to request the dissolution of Parliament. The King has granted this request, and we will have a general election on the 4th of July.
Finland's government has proposed emergency legislation to block asylum seekers trying to enter from Russia. Some critics say the law conflicts with Finland's constitution and its international human rights commitments. The Americas. In Ecuador, the Attorney General's office is investigating 8 reported extrajudicial killings during the recent state of emergency. An extrajudicial killing is the killing of a person by a state without legal justification or proceedings. The state of emergency was declared by President Daniel Noboa in January because of escalating violence, which was blamed on drug gangs. More than 18,000 people were arrested by security forces. In Brazil, the Imbaia-Guarani indigenous community are refusing to leave their ancestral lands, which are planned for residential development. The area has experienced heavy rain and flooding, which has killed over 160 people and displaced more than 500,000 people, but the community leaders say they will not consider leaving. Africa. The Democratic Republic of Congo has new evidence that Apple could be sourcing minerals from conflict areas, according to international lawyers. The lawyers have asked Apple to answer questions about its supply chain in Congo. Chad's Prime Minister Suksay Masra has resigned after interim President Mahamat Idris Deby won the presidential election. Masra said, "In accordance with the Constitution, I have today presented my resignation and that of the transitional government, which has become irrelevant with the end of the presidential election of May the 6th. Asia. China is willing to improve its relations with the Vatican, according to the Foreign Ministry. Vatican diplomat Cardinal Pietro Parolin has said the Vatican wants to establish a permanent office in China. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said, "We are willing to work together with the Vatican to promote the continuous improvement of China-Vatican relations." Indonesia's parliament has proposed a ban on investigative journalism and LGBT content in changes to its broadcast law. Civil society groups and filmmakers have criticised the proposal, saying it restricts press freedom and creative expression. Indonesia's press council say the ban would undermine media independence. And in Nepal, a Sherpa has summited Mount Everest for the 30th time, a new record. Kami Rita Sherpa is 54 years old and first climbed Everest in 1994. That's your world news in 7 minutes. If you enjoy this podcast, please tell your friends about us. You can get in touch with us in a voice message at send7.org or by sending an email to podcast@send7.org. I'm Juliet Martin. Tomorrow you will be with Stephen Devinchenzi. Have a lovely day.